All right, please let me know if you can see my presentation. I'm gonna present right now. Okay,
Yeah,
can you
I
see
can
my
see.
slide? Yes? Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Xuan Yan. I am the Director of Recruitment here at the College of Computing and Informatics at Drexel University. I am currently in Ho Chi Minh City, so we're in the same time zone. I'm just in my hotel room right now, so very happy to be here with you all this evening. And I see that it is a rather small group, so feel free to put any questions you have in the chat or raise your hand during my presentation. That's completely fine. I want it to be as interactive as possible. I want to answer all the questions that you have and really to help you as much as I can in this process. I know how stressful and confusing it can be, and that's why I am here. So I know that you're all probably thinking about the application process and how to really stand out, right? In the application, it is especially for some of the programs like STEM that are popular, that are competitive. Some schools are also competitive. So here are just a visual of an overview of the application timeline, application steps, right? So I think that it really depends on the institution. That there are so many institutions in the US, and they're all very different in their own application process. But they're generally speaking, there are 6 different steps, right? You submit your application, you submit any supporting documents, you check your status during that process. There's usually an application portal. You complete your application is being reviewed, and then you have your decision notification from the institution. So what are some of the things that you need to pay attention to? First and foremost is a timeline. It sounds straightforward, right? It sounds like it's a given, but believe it or not, there are many different application deadlines compared to many different institutions, right? Some places have early decision, early action, regular decision. Some places, depends on the program, there are priority deadlines, right? So, and what it means can be very different and depends on the school you're looking at. Sometimes ED, early decision, is a commitment. You have to commit to that school. Sometimes early decision is also a commitment. You have to commit to the school that you're applying. Priority deadline sometimes means that you are going to be considered for scholarships more compared to the other ones. So really look into the fine lines, really go to the website of every single college you're applying to and see what that means to apply to that round of application, whether it's ED, EA, RD, or anything else in between. And then secondly, requirements, right? What kind of requirements does each school have? Typically, your common application can be used to most of the schools in the US, but sometimes, schools have their own application system. University example, right? They have their own application system. Some schools have their own application forms as well. And sometimes schools have their own supplementary essay, additional questions, additional part of the application that you also have to fill out, additional essay, additional anything, right? So really look into the requirements, be prepared, and start as early as possible, because you never know. Every different schools have different requirements. You want to be prepared, have ample time for yourself to get ready for all the things that you need to do. And same thing applies to the requirements of every single application, the supplement materials too, right? The testing. Sometimes a lot of schools are test optional. Some places are test free. Some places doesn't matter if you're submitting your test score or not. Some places are actually requiring again. So really look into the requirements of each school and what does that mean for that school. So reach out, if you have any questions, reach out to the admissions, really read the fine lines of every single school, do your homework, do your research, and be very thorough. Application portal, a great way to really check your application status. A lot of times, everything that you're looking for, all the questions you have, all this anxiety and stress of where's my application? Is it updated? Is it being reviewed? Are they missing anything? If you just go to the application portal, typically you can find all the questions that you're having right now. So really make sure you're checking your portal frequently. You're looking at, the notifications. You're looking at the status of your application. Make sure that you are keeping yourself informed of your own application. So a little bit more about the language and the admission review process is that a lot of times when you talk to admission officers like myself, you hear this word holistic review. What does that mean? What is a holistic, right? What exactly does that mean? I think that generally speaking, holistic review means that every single part of your application counts. Not one single part of your application will decide the entire fate of your application, right? So it's like, it's not just your standardized testing, even if you submit your test score, right? It's not just your essay, it's not just your activity, it's not just your recommendation letter, it's all the pieces together that tells a story about who you are and why you want to apply to that program, to that university that matters. So all these pieces is really is like a puzzle, right? So every part of your application is one piece. Without any single piece, the puzzle is not complete. But when you put everything together, it starts to make sense, right? So this is the activity that I'm doing. This is the essay that is telling my story. And these are my activities, and these are my courses, and these are my interests. So all put it together of who you are as a person. So really what we're trying to do as a mission officer is to read through every part of the application and really just to try to get to know you as a person. Who really are you? What makes you you, right? What is the unique part about you that helps you to stand out? I think what you need to do as well is to really think about your entire application as a puzzle and try to think, okay, what else is missing in my application? What else do I want to highlight about myself in that application? So, your resume, your essay, sometimes some universities also do interview, right? What are the things I can highlight in every single part of the application process? So really it's a holistic process because you need to really realize that you are trying to tell a story about you. And also make sure that you are checking all the different requirements, like I mentioned before, because different institutions are very different. They're looking for different things. They're requiring different things. So make sure that you are really submitting what they're looking for. And last but not least, if there's any questions that you have, anything you're not sure, just reach out to admissions, right? That's why we're here. We're friendly people. We're here to help. We're happy to answer any questions you have. That's why we're here. So certainly don't be shy. Don't feel like you're being judged. Really just ask any questions, any concerns that you have. Feel free to reach out. Yeah, I'm gonna pause here a little bit. Does anyone have any questions? It's hard to see the chat. Let me make sure I'm checking. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave that in the chat or unmute yourself. I'll give a second. No? Okay. All right. I guess we're good. I'm gonna keep going. All right. So we'll talk about holistic process. How can you find the right fit for you? How can you know this is my school? I will be happy here. This is what I'm looking for. First and foremost, research, right? Go to their website, go to their YouTube channel, go to their social media channel. A lot of them have Instagram, a lot of them have Facebook, or sometimes they have a blog. Whatever they have, do your research, really research about that institution. Really get a sense, from their current students as well, especially if they have current students, connect with them, right? Send them an email, maybe schedule a phone call or a Zoom call to try to get to know their life, their programs and how do they like it. So really try to get a sense of the university and sort of the vibe of a university per se. Attend admissions events. That's why they're there. Virtual, in person, their webinars, sometimes they're virtual tours. So really give you a sense of the space that you're looking at. And sometimes these events are organized and hosted by professors. So you get a sense of the academic life as well. What kind of class does it look like? What kind of, sort of classroom and culture does it feel to be at that campus? So really do your own research, attend those events, be more involved. Sometimes there are alumni volunteers as well that are currently in your country or in your city. Certainly reach out, right? How was their experience when they were at that college, right? What do they like about the college? Of course, things can be different after they graduate, but I think all these things, all this sort of experience will be valuable for you as you're looking and researching about what kind of school can be a good fit for you. And then, of course, once again, reach out to the missions. That's why they're there. If you want to get to know them, this is a perfect place to ask these questions and get to know a place is talk to the admission counselors. All right, so I'm gonna move on to talk a little bit about the College of Computing and Informatics, right? What is so unique about Drexel? What is so unique about CCI? So Drexel University, we are a comprehensive R1 research institution. In case you're not familiar with R1 research institution, it is a Carnegie classification, really ranking different US institutions based on their academic rigor and their academic research activity. So being R1 means that we are at the highest level among all the universities in the US. And out of over 4,000 universities in the US, there are only a little over 30 institutions that are classified as R1. So it is a very small group that we are very proud to be part of it, that really shows the strength and the academic rigor and research activities that we have right here at Drexel. CCI is one of the few colleges in the US that has both the Department of Computer Science and the Department of Information Science. That is very rare to have both under one roof. Most of the cases that you see is computer science department is with the School of Engineering. And then the information science school is their own thing. It's usually called the I school. There's a community of I schools across the country. We are a member of that as well. But it's rare to see both together. What that means for the students and for the professor is that you are able to take advantage of that and you're able to learn from each other and talk to each other. You have all the resources pulled together under one roof. And it's really interesting to see the interplay between the two fields, where you're able to really see the intersection of different fields that can be related and that can do some research across disciplines. It's a very diverse place at CCI. As you can imagine, the field of technology is one of the most diverse field, in the most diverse industry as well. So there's a lot of different students coming from different backgrounds, coming from different places. Same with our faculty as well. So lots of diversity here. We have a comprehensive offers of majors. We have 5 different undergraduate majors, 10 master's program, 2 PhD program, and many, many certificate programs as well. So it's a very comprehensive college right here at CCI. We are committed to supporting women in technology. We supporting women in so many ways in technology because unfortunately the technology industry, it's still predominantly, stereotypically, historically male dominated. So we're trying to promote and empower more female students to be in the field, to feel supported and empowered to be in that space. Last but not least, if you have never heard of this place called Philadelphia, that is where we are. If you know anything about US history, Philadelphia is the birthplace of the United States. It is where the Declaration of Independence was signed. It is where this country was founded. The Independence Hall is right here. The Liberty Bell is right here. We are right here in the center city of Philadelphia. So very easy access to everything right here. Philadelphia is the 6th largest city in the US and is one of the 2 only UNESCO cultural heritage sites in the US. That shows you the cultural and historical importance of the city right here in the US. Where else better to go if you want to study abroad in the US? A little bit more about our majors. So here is a chart where I am a visual person. This really helps me to understand and organize my thoughts. So you can see on the one side, we have the gold side. And on the other hand, we have the navy, the blue side. So what it means is that the one on the yellow is more heavily focused on programming. So in simple terms, is more math heavy. You need to know more about math. You need to know more about programming. You're doing a lot more of the theoretical part of the technology, right? So that's computer science, that's software engineering. And then you're looking at the right-hand side in blue, data science, information science, econ, that is more about the application of the technology. So you're learning about the technology, but you're focusing more on how to better use it and apply it in the real world, whether that is industry or you're working in research, how to apply that in the field. So that is in very simple terms, right? The different focus of two different sort of like the spectrum of different majors we have here. And of course, you have something somewhere in the middle, computing and security technology. So that's kind of like you can choose which side you want to focus a little bit more on, right? The theory side versus the application side. So that's up to you. And very bottom underneath, you can see CCI undeclared. If you don't really know what you want to study, but you kind of know that you want to be in the space of technology, you can start as an undeclared major, and then you can sort of work your way together with your academic advisor to find out which major really is the best for you. So one thing that Drexel and CCI is really proud of is this one thing called co-op. So what is co-op? Co-op is kind of like an internship, but better. So Drexel University has been doing co-op for over 100 years. It has been done since the day we're founded. It is in the philosophy of our education that we want our students to be very practical. We want them to apply what they learn in a classroom into the industry and bring that feedback back to the classroom to inform what we teach at the same time. So really is a very, it's a really a cycle where we're trying to make sure whatever you're learning has a lot of value into the industry, into the field that you will be working in. So what we do here for co-op is that Drexel signed formal contract with many different employers, many different companies across the country and across the world, where they are able to take Drexel students to work there at their company as full-time employee to really work on projects for the company. So in that way, the company gets more people, talented people to work on their project. The students get some real experience where they really get to test drive their career. I think I want to be a computer engineer, but do I like it, right? And then you do your co-op at Google, you realize, oh, I truly do love it. I want to do more, right? Or maybe you realize you actually don't like it. You want to try something else. So either way, you get that real experience for yourself. So you know more about you, yourself, your interests, and and what you want to do next. So here on the calendar, you can see sort of two different options for co-op, right? If you're doing one co-op, you can finish your degree in 4 years. If you're doing three co-ops, you can finish your degree in 5 years. So really depends on what really is more important to you and how you want to space and time your own degree. And here is a little video about co-op where you can hear directly from our students.
I can't hear any sound. Do we have any sounds in the video? Or...
Oh, yes, we do. Okay. That will be, let me try share my screen again.
If I could have 1.5 years experience before I even graduate, that would put me way above anybody else who's.
Can you hear the sound now?
Yeah, I can hear.
If I could have 1.5 years experience before I even graduate, that would put me way above anybody else who's not going to Drexel.
In 1891, A.J. Drexel founded a university built on preparing students to enter the industrial workforce of the time. Today, we continue to build on this tradition by infusing our world-class academics with cutting-edge research and real-world experience. Our industry partnerships enable Drexel students to work with the leaders of today as they develop into the leaders of tomorrow.
Drexel's academic model, going on co-op and then coming back into the classroom, it really helps us perform at a much higher level. We're getting a lot more value out of our time.
The best part would be having classes and also work experience, so being able to integrate the two different types of learning.
The speed of the quarter system directly translates to when you're in the workforce.
The professors are really great about making sure that you have the skills to communicate technically and in a professional environment.
Having that co-op experience is putting what you're studying in action.
What people in traditional four-year programs don't get is a sense of what you can do, a sense of possibility of what's out there.
It really helps to narrow down what I want to do in the future.
Being able to dip your toe into different industries and work at many different places helped me pick classes that were more well-suited to what I'll be doing after I graduate.
Steinbright and my co-op advisor did a great job of helping me figure out what route I should take.
They would send resources and information.
Steinbright helped with my resume and getting me prepared for interviews.
These students are invested in ways other students aren't invested. They are learning as they experience the world of work. How are they going to contribute now differently in the classroom?
After co-op, I was able to communicate more effectively with my advisors, with my classmates, with my peers, and my colleagues.
It kind of made me a much more imaginative student.
Co-op allowed me to get a sense of leadership and really contribute to the content being taught. I definitely became a resource. I was able to bring in my own personal experiences to my classes.
It taught me organizational skills, how to become more assertive.
Co-op isn't just about getting experience and getting a job. It also gives students an understanding of the world and a sense of purpose that is well beyond their years.
It was really eye-opening to see that when I did contribute to a conversation, my voice was heard and what I said was taken seriously.
I just felt so much more empowered.
Drexel awarded me so many opportunities and connections that are invaluable.
I've gained a lot of experience that a traditional student would not be able to attain.
It feels like I'm far more ready to enter the workforce than my peers.
It felt like I got to step into a full-time position. I'm more prepared for the real world.
I know what I want to do and what I don't want to do before I even graduate.
All right. So here's a little bit more about specifically CCI students co-op. Here, as you can see, that most of our students are getting real good experience during their co-op. And on the right-hand side, here are some of the companies that we work with. As you can see, by nature, a lot of the companies that we work with are in tech field, right? Because of our technology and our computing and informatics field. And our students are getting paid really well. CCI students are among consistently over the years highest paid students for co-op across Drexel University. And here's a little bit more sample of our employers for co-op. Once again, a lot of tech companies right here. But again, I think depends on the discipline you're studying and depends on what you're learning. A lot of the information, a lot of the things that you learn can be applied outside of the tech field, right? You know, as some of the industries are working more on business, some are more on information systems, right? So some are consulting. So there's a lot of different ways to apply to what you learn. So we talked a lot about the programs. Drexel sounds great. How do I apply? Here is a complete list of all the things you need to do. As you can see, it's a very straightforward process. Really, all you need to do is just finish your Common App, your application form, submit your essay, which is part of your common application, have your official high school transcripts or college transcripts submitted over here, have 2 letters recommendation or any other required supplement, depends on the program, depends on the major you're applying to. Drexel is test optional, so you do not have to submit your SAT or ACT score. That is something that you can decide if you want to submit or not. And over here, we have different admission plan as well. So you can apply through early decision, early action, regular decision. And here are some of the benefits. Depends on when you're applying, and then the deadlines and sort of the dates where you're able to expecting to hear from Drexel. The cost is very important. I think that a lot of students, we get questions every single year about how much is it? Do you have scholarship? Do you have financial aid? The answer is yes and yes. And we do offer scholarship, we do offer financial aid. And here, as you can see at the left-hand side for first-year students, is on average how much financial aid we're offering to our first-year students. And the second number on the left-hand side you see is on average how much you are paying as a student here. And the bottom, you can see that most of our students at Drexel are receiving scholarship, financial aid, or a combination of both. So we are very generous offering that financial aid package to make Drexel a more affordable education. And here, the next slide, you can sort of see the estimated tuition and cost, room and board, and all the other fees that we have here at Drexel. And please note that tuition is an estimate as well, that it changes every year, and you will only be charged by credit. So it depends on how many courses you're taking, depends on how many credits that you're taking. You will be charged by different semesters. You're not going to be charged by 60K right when you start. It depends on how many credits you're taking. And the room and board is also an estimate. Of course, the living condition, right, of every student can be different, where students live and, how much they pay for their rent. It all really varies. So this is just an estimate. And once again, the application deadlines and different timeline. I'll give you a couple seconds to read. And if you want to apply for financial aid as international students, certainly submit your CSS profile as part of your application. Don't forget about that. All right, and we also have our amazing current students who are called Dean's Ambassadors. They are current CCI students who are here with us, and they are majoring in many different fields. And if you just have a couple questions, you want to connect with the current students, you want to know more about their life, their courses, and living in Philadelphia, living on campus, living off campus, how's the food, how's the weather, anything you can think of, feel free to connect directly with our current students here. They're more than happy to help you out. And here is our email address of my team, the admissions team here at CCI. We're also happy to help you with any questions you might have. You can join our mailing list to receive more information about CCI. And we have many different virtual events coming up. So if you want to know more about our programs, our majors, definitely sign up. And that's really it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Yeah, if anyone have any questions, now will be a great time to ask.
Thank you for the presentations, and everybody, now is the time for Q&A. So it's your chance to ask questions and talk to it directly. So feel free to turn on your camera or let us know if you have any questions. And in the meantime, we already received some questions from students who register to join us at these events. And I think we can go through those questions first, and then we can look into the live Q&A questions, if any, also. Okay, so the first one, one student wants to know what specific qualities or experiences do university like Drexel prioritize in STEM applicants?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that it really depends on the major that you're looking into, right? And I think that because it's a holistic process, there's really no standard answer, right? Okay, for say applying for a computer science major, these are the ideal students we're looking at. There it really isn't any ideal students because we acknowledge that everyone is different, everyone is unique in their own way. And that is what we want to see is what makes you unique, what makes you stand out, what makes you different from everybody else. So I think that part of that is for you to really take some time to think about those big questions and really get to know yourself a little bit more. Look inwards, look at yourself. What is unique about myself? What do I want the world to know about me, right? So this is your place. This is your time to shine, to really showcase who you are, your personality. I think that I think so many times that students are stressed out in the process. They're like, okay, just tell me the standard answer. Just tell me the correct answer you're looking for. I will make my application towards that sort of the image of the ideal students. But unfortunately, there is no ideal students because the ideal students, the best application you can create is the best one that showcases the authentic you, right? Use your voice, make your application reflect who you are. So for example, there are students that I talked to yesterday at the fair and they're really funny. They have a great sense of humor. So I think that when you're writing an essay or when you're using that tone, when you're crafting that essay, make sure that that is your voice, that is truly your voice, right? If you're reading your essay that sounds like a really serious person, that is not you because I met you in person. You are really funny, right? So I think that is just one example that you really want to be authentic in a way that you are presenting yourself in many different ways throughout the application. So I think the best advice is be authentic, be real, and present all the amazing things, unique things about you. I think that is the best way to craft your application and stand out. I hope that answers the question.
Great. I think it's very, very, very helpful for students because anyway, we always talk to our students that authenticities and unique traits might be something that you always want to show the admission officers, and that something really contribute to your values and things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think students will really find these tips helpful anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so. I know it's hard to do because it kind of, it takes time. It's hard work, right? Getting to know yourself, answer those big questions is hard work. But I think that applies to really every part of your application, your essay and your activity as well, right? What truly do you like to do in your free time, right? Are you more of a social person? Are you more of an introvert that you do other amazing things, but you just don't like to do that with many other people at the same time? So I think whatever that is, you have to present that and own it, right? Be confident in yourself and really just to show your own personality and all the things that makes you you. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we're talking to competitive egg, do you think that we should have to do something in particular, like how important are standardized test score like SCT or ICT compared to other aspect of the application?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that I can't speak for all the institutions. I can only speak for CCI. I think for us, because we are test optional, so it is not something that is so crucial to your application because it's not even a required part of your application. But if you did really do a really, really well in a test, that you should submit it, right? If you really, if it, again, this applies to every part of your application. If there's something that you're really proud of and you feel like, yeah, I did really well, then tell us, right? Show us in the application. And I think that for students who are not so much a test taker, they just can't sit in a room for 4 hours and they're sick that day or the traffic is bad or whatever, right? You're just not, the score doesn't reflect who you are. The score doesn't reflect your academic performance, then don't submit it, right? So either way, it's not going to be against you, that just the fact that you didn't submit it. We're not going to think immediately, oh, you didn't submit a score, you're not a good student. That's not how we think. It is an option because we know that everyone functions differently. Some students are great with test taking, some students are not, but they're still amazing student either way. So I think really look at the score and see, does that reflect who you are? Does this piece fit into the rest of your application, that puzzle?
Great. Thank you for the answer. And so talking about test optional policy, that means students now have more chance to showcase their talents, values, and potential to admission officers rather than just tests. So would it be any advantage for students who have published research or some STEM-related accomplishment to be a strong candidate?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that once again, if that's something that you do and that is something that you're really proud of, absolutely submit that in your application, right? Some students they are really into research, they're very academic, and that is all they care. So they did a lot of publications. Yeah, absolutely showcase that, right? Some students are more interested in applying that technology, right? Like I mentioned before, there are two different sort of concentrations among our majors, and they are more excited about, say, doing coding, or they're more excited about sort of helping students and talking to companies, or talking to students. How do I use the technology to help you solve a problem? And it's not so much about research, right? It's more about the application of the technology. If that is who you are, then showcase that, right? Showcase that activity. So again, it all comes back to you. What kind of person are you, right? Are you more into research? Are you more into application? Are you more into theory? Are you more into connecting people, connecting projects, problem solving? So really, whatever that is, I think in every way, there is a way to showcase your talent, right? It's just different. So you have to find what is my thing, right? I'm academic, I'm research. Then yes, do research, do those publications, showcase all those things. I am more about connecting things, connecting the dots, solving problems, helping people. Then do that, right? So whatever that is, showcase whatever you're really good at, and really be proud of what you have already accomplished.
Okay, and we do have some students who are currently on the journey to explore different fields, and STEM is among one of those. So they would like to know how a student can showcase a genuine passion for STEM if his activity list is very varied and not exclusively STEM focused.
Yeah, that's completely fine. I think that really speaks to the authenticity, right? Because you are 17, 18 years old and you're still figure things out. That's completely fine. And that is so 100% authentic, right? You don't have to figure everything else out. And I think I am, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but there are people who are still figure things out even when they're graduated college or graduate, their graduate school or PhD, right? So that's completely okay. So I think that wherever you are in your journey, just don't be afraid to say like, hey, or I'm still exploring things, but these are the things I have done, right? These are the things I've tried. So I think that is completely fine. Whatever you do, I think be authentic, be open, and again, be confident and own whatever you do. Really own it. Yeah.
Okay, so one more question that I think would be the question that will be the one from so many students. Now, how important leadership skill through STEM-related activities?
Yeah, leadership skills is certainly one of the things that we also look at. But we cannot just have all the people coming to our university are leaders, right? That doesn't make sense. If everybody is a leader, then who are they leading, right? So I think that, once again, try to get out of the mindset that there is a correct answer, that there is a best sort of student, right? It doesn't exist. There are a variety of different things, and one of them is a leader, right? Some students are just there, they have leadership skills and they have people skills, they have communication skills, right? Some students are more just into research. They're very good at one thing and they go deep in it. Some students are kind of like, the trait of all jack of all trades, that they're just doing a variety of things, that they're curious, right? So it depends on who you are, and I think leadership is one of the things that we are really looking at. So if that is you, you have leadership experience, definitely showcase that, right? But don't feel like you have to, you're forced to do this just because you want to showcase that on your application. Once again, really be authentic, right? I think that not just do it just for the purpose of doing it.
Yeah, I agree, because leadership skill can be like showcased in so many different things, but
absolutely
limited to just a title or thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. You're so correct. And, the thing about leadership is as well is that there are so many different types of leadership, right? So I think that again, if you want to really showcase the leadership, find the one that is fitting to your personality, right? That is the kind of leader that I want to be. That might be different from others because there are many different ways of leadership. There's many different ways to lead people. So I think that once again, going all the way back to authenticity, be you and be authentic, and whatever that means for you, showcase that.
Yeah, that should be the key.
Yes, 100%.
And when talking to a very important factors in the whole application, personal statement, do you have any tips for students who want to apply for STEM majors in particular?
Yeah, I think for essay, I think essay is a very important part of the application because it is one of the few things by the time you apply that you can still change, right? Because think about it, right? Your grades, the classes you took, the grades you got is a pretty much set. Your activities, you've done it, right? If you're in your senior year or junior year, you've already done your activities, you can't change the past. And then your classes, your activity, and then your recommendation letters. You can't really change what others write about you. That's their opinion. That's how they see you. That's how they put on the paper. So really, what you can really change is kind of the essay, is your space, right? So really, I think essay is, think about it as a way to tell your story. This is where we hear directly from you, right? All the other things we hear from your teachers, we hear from your school counselors, right? And we look at the grades graded by your teachers, graded by the school. So this is really a space that we hear directly from you. So really put your voice in it, right? Put your life story in it. Put anything that you think is important for us to get to know you as a person in that essay. I want to really envision who this person, when I'm reading the essay, I can hear them, I can see them, I know their story, I know where they're coming from, I know their motivations, their interests, what makes them smile, what makes them cry, what are the important things, what are the important values to this person. So I think really think about that as a way to really introduce yourself and use your voice in that essay. I think that's important in that way because this is where we directly hear from you. Yeah.
Great. And now we just got a question from student who is here.
Great. Wonderful.
Chị Anh ơi, do you want to unmute your microphone and talk to it directly, or you feel more comfortable if I read aloud your question? So she or he wants to ask that, may I ask the question, how can I apply for and be granted a scholarship? I guess at Drexel University in particular, especially when I'm applying for STEM program, which are really difficult. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question. So, for scholarship, there is no application. There's no separate application at Drexel CCI. So once you finish your application, you are done. You are automatically considered for scholarship, and that applies to everyone, right? We consider everyone for merit scholarship, whether you're international, you're domestic, it doesn't matter. Whether you're applying for STEM or humanities or social science, doesn't matter either. Really, once you're done with the application, you are considered for scholarship. And once, like I mentioned before, it's a holistic process. So we really want to get to know you as a person and then decide how much, merit scholarship that we want to offer. And then I think that a lot of the merit scholarship, as the name suggested, is really based on merit, right? So it is your academic performance. It's not just your GPA, but also the rigor of your courses, right? Which high school do you go to? What kind of classes you're taking? What level? How difficult it is to get an A in that class? How difficult it is to even pass the class, right? So all these things matters when we're reading applications. I think what you need to do is really just to submit and showcase all the things that you want to show in your application, and then we will consider in a holistic process.
Yeah, and would you mind maybe sharing more with us about some showcases from students at Drexel University, international student who just got scholarship and really impressed the admission committee in the latest
Yeah.
admission cycles?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think of some very specific stories, but I can't right now. Maybe it's the jet lag, but it really is, like I said before, is really about, all about you, right? It's all about the stories that you tell. It's all about your academic performance, and like I mentioned before, that we're really trying to make education affordable here at Drexel. So we're offering, most of our students here have some sort of scholarship, financial aid, and of course they are getting income from co-op as well. The companies are paying them quite a bit, especially for CCI students. The tech companies are paying really well for our students. And if you want to work on campus part-time, that's an additional source of income as well. So really, I think that there are many ways, there are many sources of funding that can bring down that tuition for you. And scholarship is not the only place for that, right? Like I mentioned before, all these things can all together as a package can make that education more affordable.
Thank you. And we hope that you find these answers helpful for you, Kian. If you want to talk to her, just let her know. Just simply unmute your microphone. We are really happy to talk to you. And if any of you still have any other questions, just feel free to let us know. Simply drop some text in the chat box or just talk to us directly. I think we have gone through all the questions we got from the registration form. So now just the time for Q&A sessions.
Yeah. Don't be shy.
Yeah, they are just a little bit shy, I guess.
It's okay. It's hard to do that on Zoom when you don't have that in person where you have face to face and to engage people that way.
Yeah. So everyone, this is your chance. We don't really have Suyen with us every time, so it's really a unique chance of you to talk to her and get some tips for preparing for your college application.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just about Drexel or CCI. If there's just any general questions that you have about just applying to US colleges, I'm happy to support as well.
Yeah, it should be a lot of questions because when it comes to college application, especially for the process in the US, is a very complicated journey, isn't it?
It is. It is.
And so many things you need to know before you really start preparing for your college application. Here we have students from high school and also some students from university. So some of them might be interested in graduate program. So can you maybe share a little bit about that just in case somebody hears?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very happy to answer any questions about graduate programs as well. As I mentioned before, we have about 10 different master's degree programs. And the co-op is also available for master's program as well, right? Typically, the master's program lasts around 1.5 years to 2 years, depends on how many courses you're taking, depends on which program you're in, and if you're doing co-op. but it's a very similar process where it's very easy to apply. And I can actually share some slides about specifically about graduate admissions as well. Let's see. All right, let me share my screen. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen. So this is the list of application materials that you need for graduate admissions to submit your application. Once again, similarly to undergrad, is a very easy process. You know, your complete application form, your 4 years degree from your college. Typically, we're looking at a minimum of 3.0 GPA out of 4.0 GPA or the equivalent, depends on what kind of curriculum that you're in for your undergrad. Your official transcript from your university, one required letter of recommendation. It can be two. It can be, you know, both from your professors or from your company if you're already working, from your supervisor. Your statement of purpose, which is really just an essay, similarly, tell your story, talk about your interest in the program, and your resume. So it's a very similar process. And for English proficiency, if English is not your first language, or if your curriculum is not taught in English, here are the requirements we have. For TOEFL, it's 90, for IELTS, 6.5. We also accept Duolingo as 115 as well. I do want to mention that all our programs are open to everyone, the master's level, right? So you don't have to have a degree in computer science or engineering or technology to apply. A lot of the programs, even such as computer science and software engineer or AI and machine learning, which are all very popular, they have different tracks as well, right? So if you're not coming from a tech-heavy background, you might be on the track to learn more about the application of the program. Or you can choose one, right, to really be more focused on the computational track, to really learn more about the technology, to learn more about programming and the theory part of it. So once again, don't feel discouraged. Oh, I studied education in my degree, but now I want to switch to technology. Can I apply? Absolutely, yes. You don't have to have a background to apply to our master's program. That's why we want to prepare everyone, especially for switching careers and trying something out. So yeah, that's a little bit more. We have merit discount that I mentioned. If you're looking into immediately starting, the application is due very soon. Once again, this is just the most immediate term that we have. If you're, you know, tuning in today, maybe you're looking for next year, next fall, next winter. So there's still a lot of time for you to prepare and get ready. So yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing just very quickly about graduate admissions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
So we really have a chance to learn more about Drexel University and all the opportunities students can consider when thinking about choosing Drexel.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to answer any questions you all have.
Yeah, so far we haven't got any news questions, so I would like to remind all of you one more time. We would just stay here for a bit more longer to wait for your questions, if any. Or if you just want to talk to us, just feel free to do so.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave my email address in the chat as well, just in case you realize, oh, actually, I do have a question.
Great.
All right.
Did you say that you just received a question directly to you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Wait, let me double check actually. Oh yes, I just saw there was a question, but it's the same question about scholarship. So I think we answered that question already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that all we have for today.
Okay.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and answering all the questions from our students. And also a big thank to the students who spent time to join us today. We really hope you enjoy the webinar today. If you miss anything or want to go back and review, we will be posting the webinar on SparkPrep YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for that. And if you're looking for more personalized advice with your application, just feel free to reach out to us, to either SparkPrep or to Suyen directly if you are interested in applying to Drexel University. So thank you, Suyen, today for being a part of the events tonight on a Friday evening, and have a wonderful rest of the week, and hope to see you around next time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for hosting. Thank you all for tuning in and your time. Love to stay in touch. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.